I certainly do know that there's more. I certainly know that they've had issues back and forth. At the same time, here's why I think he absolutely caved to cancel culture, or more to the point, his management caved to cancel culture, and he went along with it. Throwing out a statement like an already strained relationship in public without anything to back it up is a bitch move. Bullshit. That's a bitch move.
And I'll tell you why it's bullshit.
Go ahead.
You don't fucking put out your goddamn dirty laundry to the
You do
public.
if you make a statement on it.
You just did an episode about Queensryche bagging on Scott Rockenfield for doing that. What is Mustaine supposed to say? Hey, we've been having this strained relationship years ago, and then Dave Ellefson's going to do it on his social media. Yeah, we weren't getting along. It's going to cause friction and stupidity. This is a professional thing. Like I said, you and Neely made this big thing I listened to the other day about Queensryche. And Queensryche, you know, you could compare Queensryche to Megadeth in a way that, and I love Queensryche. They were, I grew up on them in the 80s. They were the very sophisticated band. They weren't this like Motley Crue. You know, there's a difference between a band like a Megadeth and a Queensryche and then a Motley Crue. If this incident happened to Tommy Lee, it would be done and forgotten about. It would just, you know, people would get on him and this and that, but it should be, oh, that's just Tommy Lee. He's just a sex fiend, you know. He's rock and roll. He's, you know, they could get away with that, and they would use it to their advantage. They would use it for free publicity, and it would kind of go away. Oh, Tommy Lee jerked off. Oh, he's just crazy, you know. Right. But when you get with someone like David Ellefson, who is a conservative in the business, religious, he's an ordained minister, that right there is, you know, you're a target. I mean, both David Ellefson, Dave Mustaine, and I'll throw James Hetfield in the loop. They are the targets of the metal press. They love nothing more than to come down on these guys for any little thing. You know, oh, James Hetfield doesn't want to get vaccinated. He's like, he made a statement, you know, I grew up with a mother that was, you know, not about vaccinating. Oh, he's causing trouble to these, you know.
He's anti-vaxxer.
Shut the fuck up. He's, you know, they are targets. You could agree with me that. I'm not going to get into a political or religious thing.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I don't agree with what you're arguing about.
So the less that is said, and it was a management thing, I think, rather than saying something to that effect of trying to explain, look at, either way Dave Mustaine went, he would have got shit. He probably would have got more shit if he didn't do anything. If he allowed Dave in the band, there would be just as many people, if not more, supporting this guy, this pedophile, which is bullshit, or supporting this guy who's married with kids. It's just he would get a lot of shit from, you know, whether it be women's groups, whether it be the ultra progressive liberal media, whatever. Either way he goes, he's not going to win.
I do not disagree with anything you're saying, Bob, except for I disagree about Dave not being a cuck and a bitch with the statement. If you don't want to bring the laundry to the table, then don't hint about it. Just say we've decided to part ways. You don't have to say about we already had a strained relationship, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We knew he was doing other shit,
well, dude,
which is what he did.
With people, not even people in the know. Okay, just look at comments. So say you don't know anything, and again, I never discuss with Dave Mustaine. I don't go on my social media going, oh man, I was just backstage and I saw that they had a strained relationship. It's none of my fucking business. It's not my business to talk about, you know, if I'm hanging out with Metallica or whatever band, if something goes on, if somebody says something, I'm not going to go on, and I'm not going to even tell people like you or whatever, hey, there's, you know, this is stuff. But, you know, friends that I had with me, they were even looking and going, man, there's definitely something, you know, going on here. So it was something that was known by, and I'm sure a lot of the bands that toured with them and all that. And the thing I've always respected about Megadeth and Metallica is they keep things within the camp. They don't. But here's what you're not hearing, Bob. So I'm 1,000% with you on everything you just said. So then why put it in the statement? Why hint about it at all? Why not just say it's true?
Okay, then, but if you're gonna bring it to the table, then you can't leave it hang so that he looks worse than it is. He looks worse.
I agree that the state. Look, this was obviously a management statement from the first statement, even before they made the decision. We're looking into this matter. That yes, Dave Mustaine, it's signed by him, but it was something I'm sure Dave and Corey, their manager, discussed. And again, it was something like, dude, now it's time. This is something, a lot has led up to this situation. It's time, to let it loose. And this has happened with so many other bands, dude. I mean, know. But it's before this cancel culture. They never look at Scorpions when James Kotek did that thing. And I like Kotek, and I thought what he did, you look at him and he's like, hey man, I was just being rock and roll. What I showed, I took my pants down or whatever. And the thing that was 80s rock and roll. We would have loved that back then. Yeah, you did it in fucking Dubai, dude. No better. It's not what you did. It's the situation you put yourself in.
Yeah.
And David Ellefson has done that. Not with just this, but with a lot of stuff, which I'm getting into. And you're forgetting something very important.
Okay.
David Ellefson was kicked out of the band. He tried suing Dave Mustaine for millions. And guess what?
Okay.
They brought him back in the band. Okay. He forgave him. You're not going to make a statement. Now, me, if I was the management, I would have come out and said something to the fact that, we're going to take a break. There's no way David Ellefson could have done this tour, realistically. Okay. And I'll tell you what, with all the shit going on with the FBI investigation, he's going to, they're starting this tour in August. FBI investigation. I'm sure there's going to be lawsuits, whether it's with this girl that leaked it out or with maybe somebody else that leaked it out to someone. There's going to be a lot of shit. He's got to focus on family right now. And believe me, I think Megadeth is the least of David Ellefson's worries right now, and I think he would agree with me. Whatever his relationship with his wife, I know he was a great family man. He was. I've met his wife Julie. He was great to the kids. Obviously, he had 2 grown-up kids. He doesn't want this in the news. A best statement is to be as brief, but not to get into, because you saw already. You took that strain thing, and you went with it. If he was to get into, hey, David, we've known each other for years. I hate to do this. Oh, well, you hate to do it. You would get all this shit. It would just carry on and carry on. When you do a business statement with management, they make it short. They make it to the point. That's what Scorpions did with Kotak. It was boom. He's out of the band. AC/DC did it. Phil Rudd, he had some legal allegations. Boom, he was out with no warning, no nothing. It was a cancel culture. Brian Johnson, he had hearing issues. He was out of the band. And he said, hey, they kicked me out. I just had hearing issues. Guess what? Phil and Brian are back in the band.
Dude, I agree totally. But what I'm saying is, by saying strained relationship, he's leaving it hang that there's more to this story.
Well, there is.
That's the problem.
And he doesn't want to get into it. But let me tell you this. And this is why I told you, I know we were going to talk about this prior, and I said, dude, I'm not going to fucking talk about this. This is David Ellefson's business. If he wants to talk about it, if he makes a statement, then we could go off the statement. David Ellefson made a statement. Did he say anything negative about Dave Mustaine? No, he says, hey, man, I wish the guys the best of luck. That tells me he saw this coming. I think everybody saw this coming. And they knew that this was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back is what I'm guessing at. And if not, he would have said, man, I was shocked. I just, no warning, no nothing. He knew. If he could have easily said, even what Brian Johnson said, oh man, I just had this one incident and, boom, 101, they came out with what had to be done as a business statement through their manager. Yeah. And I would have said, hey, at this, if I was management, we're going to take the time off from this tour. It's, David's going through obviously some personal stuff. He has to get situated with his family and his kids and his business. This guy's an ordained minister. Think about his church community. I mean, think about all the stuff outside of Megadeth.
His world is trash. I agree.
That's where he has to concentrate on.